Hi, and welcome to 21st Century Healthcare Consultants official podcast. We are Home Care Today. My name is Kate Rose. I'm the host of our podcast, and I'm here this morning with a very special guest who is far away, but thank goodness we're able to bring him in through technology. We're going to be talking today with Justin Bishop, who's the Regional Program Manager at VGM Insurance Services. Justin is in Iowa, and we were talking just a few minutes ago before we started that it's a part of the country I'm not personally familiar with, but look forward to visiting because we have children out there. And Justin reminded me that it's a bit chilly in the wintertime, so we're going to make sure that we make that trip in the summer. Justin, thanks for being here. I'm really glad that you were able to take a few minutes out of your busy day and come hang with us here on the podcast this morning.
Yeah, Kate, thanks so much for having us. We love our partnership with 21st Century and looking forward to talking to you today.
Good. Well, we've got a few questions that we want to run past you, and we'll stick with the list that we have, but please feel free, especially you're in the industry, you know the needs of people as you run across different folks, I'm sure, in the course of your business. So let's go ahead and get started. Tell me a little bit, just give me an overview of how VGM and your services specifically cater to home care and home health care agencies.
Yeah, so VGM has been in the insurance industry for right around 30 years. We're only in about 6 or 7 niches. They all kind of center around that post-acute home health care space. So we definitely live it, breathe it. For the last 30 years, we're passionate about it. We write a little over 2,000 home health care companies across the country. All of our claims are done in-house, so we know what the risks are for those companies, and we really are in the forefront of understanding the home health and the risks that it brings.
So you talk about the risk that it brings. I understand that in any insurance business, you're dealing with risk. I mean, that's the air that you breathe, I would assume. And there is, I'm sure, specific risk factors involved in running these types of agencies and companies. How is it that VGM Insurance Services, how do you make sure that what you offer, that you're offering services that align with the things that are necessary for compliance and quality standards out in the field?
Yeah, great question, Kate. So again, all of our claims are done in-house, and when you have 2,000 and some companies that we insure, like I said, nationwide, we get to see all those claims come in-house, whether it be theft of patient's property to a general liability claim of starting a kitchen fire in someone's home, or a professional liability claim, mismanaging some medication, all the way to stepping on a client's foot, right, and breaking their toe. But each state requires to get your Medicare, Medicaid approval certificates for the home care space is only about 30% of what we see in that claim space, right? So there's a couple other ones with physical and sexual abuse. We see a lot of claims in that, and it can be anything from being too rough with a client to we have a claim right now where one of the nurses' aides just took one of their friends into the home, right? Not thinking anything big of it, but it turns into a sexual molestation type claim. The other one is that hired and non-owned auto, and that's probably the biggest risk that our home health care clients have.
Can you say that again, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So hired and non-owned auto. So how it protects the home health care companies is a couple different ways. One is if they're ever transporting a client, right? If that nurse's aide would get in an accident with that client in the vehicle, the agency can be held responsible, right? And what's a life worth? And then that's where the lawsuit comes into play against the agency. That's on the rise, right? I don't want to say we're a sue-happy world, but just driving down the road to work today, Kate, you probably saw a billboard with a lawyer's face on it saying, "Hey, if you're in an accident, call me," right? So those are the risks that the home health cares really have, and that's what I try to get across to them. I'm passionate about it because I see them. I see them turn an agency upside down because they're not covered and they thought they were, or when we are able to take care of a client and help them settle a suit that nobody asked for, right? I mean, we don't try to bring an insurance claim, right? It just sometimes happens, and our job is to protect that agency and make them whole again.
All right, so Justin, can you walk me through a typical but hypothetical situation where you have a client who is being sued by someone over an industry infraction of some sort? What does it look like for your company to walk that person through that process?
Yeah, really, anytime there's a type of claim, right, or a suit brought against us, they need to get us involved right away, right? We have an
Okay.
entire claims team. We have legal staff on court here at VGM, and it really starts the investigation per se, right? We become FBI agents and we go through all the logs and when we were there and who was supposed to be there at that time of date of the accident and how it was. Do they have insurance? Who else has insurance? So it really becomes a suit, right? And details matter, right? So the more the home health is detailed in there, reportings and recordings of every visit that they have with clients, it's important to us because a suit could take 2 years, right? We might not see anything, and they come back 2 years later and say, hey, on this date, my client fell, broke their hip, they went to the hospital and got staph infection and died 6 months to a year later, right? And they try to bring it back on to when that client fell, when the home health aide was there. So again, it's definitely an investigation on our end, but again, we want to do what's right by the agency, and that's our number one goal, is protecting that agency and their livelihood. Because, as you know, all these home healths, they're business owners. They're putting their lives on the line, their retirement on the line to start a new opportunity for them and their family. So we want to make sure we protect that.
It sounds like it's got a huge it's a huge job that you do, because it's not just the technical things from an insurance standpoint, but you provide peace of mind, you provide encouragement, you have the expertise to be able to lift that scary, I would imagine, very disconcerting, very unsettling feeling that an agency might have if a lawsuit's brought against them. How do you come alongside of your clients and reassure them that you have what it takes in order to walk them through the process, no matter how long it takes or no matter what unfolds as you go along?
Okay, that's a great question, and I think that's where we hang our hat the most. Is we are passionate about this space. We live it.
Why? Why?
Why?
Yeah, why?
Because I'm not dipping my toe in the water and getting out tomorrow, right? So
Okay.
your normal insurance agent down the street, he's writing the car dealership, he's writing the golf course, he's writing the gym, right? They're called a generalist. They just write anything
Okay.
underneath the sun. We are in the home health hospice space, temp staffing, physical therapy, home medical equipment companies, orthotic and prosthetics. That's the
So
space.
this really is your wheelhouse.
This is our wheelhouse. So when I talk about it and I say I'm passionate about it, I'm not dipping my toe in the water and then next month I'm going to be out and be like, you know what, home health isn't for us. We have 2,000 clients that we need to be taking care of every single day. So not only do I know this space, I live this space. Our claims team lives this space. The thing I didn't mention before is VGM is ESOP. So we are employee owned. So from our janitor to our CEO, we are all owners. And you will see that the way we do business and the way we are taking care of our customers. But to get back to your question, it's really understanding the space and the risks that they're in. I always tell every insured that I do this every day, right? So please slow me
Right.
down if I'm going too fast. But I want you to understand, just like auto insurance, we hope you never use it. I have a $40 million home health agency that has been 10 years with no claims, knock on wood, right? So it's like
Wow.
getting struck by lightning. It's like a shock loss. But there's preventions that we can put in place so they don't happen. But I don't want to scare people. I just want to make sure that they're educated in what they're buying, and that I really am trying to cover all aspects of their risks, right? A
Yeah.
big one, I haven't really talked about is cyber. I would say in the last 2 years, cyber risk is really coming to the forefront. A
Can
big
you give me an example of that?
Yeah, so the biggest one right now is about a month ago, a company called Change Health. They're one of the largest Medicare Medicaid suppliers in the country.
Yes.
They got tapped into, and really they stole all the HIPAA information, Medicare Medicaid information, and then held it
That was a
ransom.
huge breach.
Yeah, so $23 million is what they asked for in the ransom. Change did pay it, but that just put them behind the eight ball, right? So they're $14.1 billion behind on payments to home healthcare agencies, home medical equipment companies, anybody that bills Medicare, they're behind on those payments. So again, really affected some of my clients just because they're waiting on that money to pay employees, to pay bills, to
Of
pay
course.
leases and things like
Of
that.
course.
So, obviously the companies I work with, they're not all that big, right? They're not a change, but it doesn't mean that I have somebody that tries to tap into my Venmo, every single day. I feel like new login, right? And I have
Right.
$33 in there. So, sometimes we call it sleep insurance, right? It's just I can sleep in my bed tonight and feel confident that I'm protected. So again, it just comes down to, if that happened to you, who would you even call? Where do you
Right.
start, right? So
We have a saying in our family, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
yeah,
And I would imagine that is true. Certainly, we all personally experience the benefits of insurance and the thought process that goes into deciding which policy is going to be the best and which company is going to be the best to take care of you, whether it's personal or business, commercial wise. You talk a lot about your passion for the work that you do there at VGM. Can you give me your thoughts on how you intentionally develop relationships with your clients?
Yeah. So every single client I try to have a Teams call with, right? And try to learn about their specific business, because each business is different. It's based on state, it's based on what they need for requirements, it's based down to county sometimes with workers'
Right,
comp, right? And then you have home health, right? And then you have home care, and then you have hospice. So what direction
right.
are they doing? Some people just want to do private pay, right, where the customer's paying directly. Some want to bill Medicare or Medicaid. So again, understanding their business, where they want to go. Talk about relationships that I have, what I've seen successful home health hospice companies do. Try to help them along, and again, try to make the ease of buying insurance comfortable, because a lot of them have never bought property and casualty insurance. This is their first time, so I want to make that as easy as possible, and be coachable, right? Coach them on what I see, and educate them. And that's the goal at the end of the day, is educate any partner that you have, because we are partners, right? We don't want claims. We don't want to have to pay anything out, but it's educating the insured, the agency, to make sure that they're doing the right things to not have a claim in the future.
And I would imagine that listening to your clients is important to you as well, because like you said, no two agencies are ever going to be the same. It's not the same people, it's not the same demographic, the same geographical location. So listening to your clients, I would imagine, gives you that insight into how you can build their insurance protection specific to their needs, who they are, and what's going to be in the best interest of their business. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. God gave you two ears and one mouth, right? I mean, you have to
Right.
listen in your sales position, right? So I think that's the biggest thing, is listening, and then just knowing that we can grow with them. I write anything from a startup to a company that has a $40 million revenue, right? So we can definitely grow with them, and as the revenue grows, their exposure grows, which brings on premium, but it also brings on other avenues of insurance that they might want to look at as their revenue grows. So again, being able to grow with that insured and understanding the business has helped us immensely.
How did you end up in the insurance business personally? Tell us your story.
Yeah, it's not a great one. So, I went to college.
Well, you can leave out any part you want to.
Yeah. So, to be honest, just jumped in about 18 months ago in the insurance world. I was in the window industry during COVID. I managed a window company, 16 salespeople, and COVID hit, and the supply chain really, really took a hit. So products that used to take us 3 weeks now took 16 to 18 to 25. Couldn't tell us.
Yep.
And I'm talking about homeowners and builders, and I was the end, right? I was the
Right.
last one on the totem pole that had to make some tough calls and conversations, and it got tough. It got extremely depressed almost to the point where I couldn't solve it. I couldn't go build the windows for them. So
Right.
I really took a step back and said, hey, I need to change something. VGM has 29 different businesses under their umbrella that, again, are all around that post-acute home healthcare space. It was a great opportunity to get my foot in the door, not only in the insurance industry, but in VGM, and be passionate about the space. It's been a staple in my community, VGM, for years. I knew about it, but didn't know a ton about it. And
Right.
so interviewed.
So
and,
you really had to pivot, is what you're telling me.
yeah, talk about a midlife
Just like-
crisis or, a career change. 100%. Yep. So, but I think selling is selling, right? I had to understand insurance. I had to get my insurance license. I had to, drink from a fire hose for a while.
Right.
Right. But I think my dad owned a grocery store, growing up in the customer service business, doing the little things. I started carrying out groceries at 10 years old. Those are the things that make me the salesperson I am today. And that's selling with integrity, doing what you told somebody that you were going to do, picking up the phone, even if it's a tough call, even if it's a troubling situation. I think those are what make me who I am today, and thankful for the position that I have and the relationship that we have with 21st Century.
Well, you've grown up being exposed to the idea and the practice of serving others, is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, first and foremost, I think my son, he's 15, he's already in the restaurant business, right? I want him to learn that business, right? Because it's not all rainbows and butterflies. It's trials, different things. You're going to have mess ups. You're going to have frustrated customers, right? And how you deal with things. I think the biggest thing is control what you can control, right? And do everything you can. And yeah, grew up in the customer service. Wouldn't have it any way else, but love what I do.
Well, it comes across. I mean, you're apparently very knowledgeable and skilled in your handling of the insurance industry and the components and what have you. But when you have a company, and every now and then we all run across a company like this, and this is really the first time that you and I have met, and I've learned about VGM. But it sounds as though you're one of those companies that has both the technical understanding and need to do the job that you're offering, but you also have, as you said, that passion to be able to develop the relationships with your customers, and not just to kiss them and then move on. You've got time in grade, as they say in the military, that you're around. You're not going to leave tomorrow, and that's when those relationships are able to be built and sustained. What in the last couple of minutes that we have, what would be the benefits that you would say that, for example, the people that are working with 21st Century Healthcare consultants who own agencies, what would be specific benefits that VGM brings to the table for those customers, for those agencies out in the field?
Yeah, I think it's everything that we've talked about since we started, Kate. Just being in the field, in the space with them, right? Most of these people that are signing up with 21st Century, either they've had an experience with taking care of their mom or dad and have decided to move into this industry, or they've been in the industry for years working for somebody else, and they're finally making that leap of faith to do it on their own. You want to work with somebody that understands the industry. You want to work with somebody that understands the risks and what they need. And I think same thing working with 21st Century. I mean, it's a great partnership for you guys to walk them through that credentialing process that can be so daunting and overwhelming for somebody to say,
And
hey,
it really is.
oh,
It really, really is.
and I'm learning so much from partnering with you guys, right? So the whole experience and making it as streamlined as possible. And I don't want to say holding their hand through the process, right? But that's really what we're doing.
Yeah, it is. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. I think that as people are standing on the precipice of getting their lives, I mean, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of faith, a lot of courage in some cases, and probably a lot of cases. Our customers, our clients are coming in with everything, the hopes, the dreams, the finances, to be able to launch their own business in a field that is highly regulated, that's very, very tricky from a legal standpoint. You've got to make sure that you've got the insurance coverage that you need in order to protect your assets, and not just those things that are immediate, but also the future of your business, being able to leave it as a legacy to your children, perhaps. You want to guard that as you build it, and it's a whole lot of hold your breath and hope for the best, and not that you ever don't do that, but at the same time, to be able to partner with somebody like VGM to have their backs, so to speak, knowing that they don't have to know everything about the insurance world, that they can trust the experts at your firm, and that you all can handle those big, scary moments, those potential concerning thoughts that they might have as they look down the road and say, well, I want to make sure that in case something happens, hopefully it won't, but in case it does, I want to make sure that we've protected our business.
I don't think I could have said it any better myself, Kate. I mean, it is truly a hand-holding experience and walking them through the path to get their business started. And it's so rewarding for me too. And I'm sure it is for you guys, to take somebody from zero revenue and have this game plan of I want to be here. And then 2 or 3 years later, seeing that come to fruition.
Right.
That's probably the greatest thing for me, right?
Yeah. Well, we call those dreams come true in a sense. I don't want to sound too Peter Pan-ish, but that's the bottom line, right? You have a vision, you have a dream, and when it starts to bear fruit, that is really exciting.
Yep.
So I guess I should probably return you to the rest of your day out in Iowa, and we're going to wrap things up here. Thank you so much for being on the show. I hope you come back. We'd love to have you again, and we look forward to developing a relationship with VGM as we continue to move forward. Thanks for your time, and it's been a great show. Thanks for joining us, all of you out there in podcast land. I'm Kate Rose. I've been your host today here at 21st Century Healthcare Consultants. We are Home Care Today. Thanks for joining us.